What do men really consider great sex? Well, let's talk about it, openly, honestly, and with a little sass, because we've earned it over the years. I've learned that there are 4 major factors that shape what men experience as great sex. And trust me, these go beyond just physical technique, though that matters too. These are emotional, energetic, and yes, sometimes very practical things that, when embraced, can transform your intimacy from routine to electric. So, whether you've been with your partner for decades or you're exploring new love in midlife, these insights could be the spark you didn't know you needed. Ready? Let's dive in. 1. Frequency. One more matters than you might think. Let's just be blunt, shall we? Frequency is important. I know that might feel obvious to some and controversial to others, but it's true, especially for men. Now, I'm not saying you need to set a timer or keep a calendar on the fridge, although I do know a couple who actually does. What I am saying is that for many men, the consistency of physical connection is deeply tied to how loved, desired, and emotionally connected they feel in a relationship. Think about it like this: intimacy is often a woman's response to feeling close, while for many men, sex is the path that leads to closeness. That difference in wiring can cause a lot of misunderstanding if we're not aware of it. A girlfriend of mine recently confided that she and her husband had only been intimate twice in the last 3 months. But when we do, she said, it's amazing. And I believe her. But if you ask her husband, he might not be feeling so amazing about the drought between the rain. It's not about being a sexual gymnast. It's not about how long it lasts. It's not even about having fireworks every time. It's about showing up consistently, saying through action, I still want you. I still choose you. You still light me up. When that frequency dwindles, even the best sex in the world can feel like a crumb when what he's craving is a steady meal. So if you want to keep your man feeling fulfilled, consider this. Could you nudge up the frequency? Maybe by initiating once in a while, surprising him with a kiss that lingers, or simply saying, let's make time for us tonight. Trust me, it matters more than you think too. Variety, because routine is the real mood killer. Let's face it, ladies, we are creatures of habit, and habits can be beautiful, but when it comes to the bedroom, routine is where desire goes to die. Now, I'm not suggesting you turn your bedroom into a circus tent, unless you want to. But shaking things up once in a while can breathe new life into your connection. Here's the thing, the male brain thrives on novelty. Not necessarily new partners, but new experiences. That's a big difference. In other words, your man doesn't need someone else, he just needs you to surprise him a little now and then. I remember reading a quote that made me laugh: if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. True in life, truer in love. Try a new position. Make love in a different room. Switch the pace, sometimes slow and sensual, sometimes wild and playful. Heck, even wearing something unexpected can do the trick. And no, I don't mean you have to slip into uncomfortable lingerie, unless that excites you. One of my friends, Susan, told me she once surprised her husband by inviting him into the backyard hot tub late at night. Nothing but candles and stars. We hadn't done anything spontaneous in ages, she said. And you would have thought I gave him a second honeymoon. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, just toil it with a little creativity. If you're always in the same position, in the same bed, at the same time of night, consider it your invitation to shake things up. Try something new. Let go of perfection. Let in the play, because when sex becomes an adventure, so does love. 3. Fantasy, the secret door to deeper desire. Alright, let's talk about something that still makes some of us blush, Sexual fantasies. Here's a truth bomb: every man has them. And guess what? You probably do too. Fantasies aren't something to fear or be ashamed of. They're windows into curiosity, longing, and even deeper connection, if we're brave enough to open the curtains. I used to think that fulfilling a man's fantasy meant losing my dignity or playing a role I didn't feel comfortable in. But I've come to realize that it's not about becoming someone else, it's about exploring another side of ourselves, together. Whether it's playful roleplay, the excitement of making love somewhere unexpected, or trying something you've never talked about before, inviting your man to share his fantasies can create an intimacy that's just as emotional as it is physical. One of my favorite memories? On our anniversary trip to the coast, I surprised my husband by renting a beach cabana for the evening. We had dinner, wine, watched the sunset, and then made love with the sound of the ocean in the background. He told me later that it had been a long-time fantasy of his, and that night, we both felt like teenagers again. It wasn't about the location. It was about the willingness to step into something a little wild, a little bold. So ask him. Better yet, tell him your fantasy. You might be surprised how much joy comes from simply being seen and received in your most unfiltered desires. Because fantasies aren't about faking, they're about freeing. 4. Intensity, the art of truly letting go. This one might be the most powerful of all, and the most vulnerable. Ladies, let's talk about intensity. When I was younger, I used to worry about how I looked during sex. Did I jiggle too much? Was I breathing too loud? Did I make too many noises? Somewhere along the way, I became guarded, held back, quiet. And one night, my husband said something that broke my heart: "I just want to know that you enjoy it." That's when it hit me. For so many men, great sex isn't just about what they feel, it's about what we feel. They want to see us lost in the moment. They want to feel our pleasure. It's not ego, it's biology. Men are wired to achieve, to win, to provide satisfaction. So when we let go, when we moan, shake, gasp, giggle, cry, they feel like they've done something meaningful, something intimate, something unforgettable. But when we're silent, still, or disconnected, it leaves them wondering, am I doing something wrong? Is she even here with me? So let yourself go. Make the noise. Let the tears fall if they come. Grab the sheets. Arch your back. Call out his name. I promise you, he won't think it's too much. He'll think it's everything. Intensity is about surrender. It's about showing up fully, body and soul. And that kind of presence can take sex from simply physical to spiritual. So what makes great sex for a man? Let's recap. 1. Frequency. He needs to feel wanted, regularly, not just on special occasions. 2. Variety. Shake things up. Routine dulls passion. Play is powerful. 3. Fantasy. Be curious about what turns him on. Share yours too. 4. Intensity. Don't hold back. Let him see you enjoying the moment. And what about you, my dear sister? Because let's not forget the most important voice in all of this, yours. What makes you feel sexy, desired, alive? Because the truth is, when you're connected to your own pleasure, everything changes. It becomes a dance, not a duty, a connection, not a chore. Don't be afraid to speak up, to ask for what you want, to claim your own joy. You've lived long enough to know that passion doesn't have an expiration date. In fact, it might just be ripening. So explore, play, giggle, moan, flirt, touch, be touched, say what you want, hear what he needs, and above all, stay curious about him, about yourself, about the sacred, sweet dance of love and desire that evolves over time. If you found this helpful or even just a little inspiring, Share it with a sister who might need the reminder that her sensual self is still very much alive. And if you'd like more insight into how men think, what they crave emotionally, and how to keep love strong in the second half of life, I've linked to a beautiful free resource just below. Here's to love that gets better with time, and sex that makes you feel every delicious second of it.